Live on Bring a Trailer Auction right now, the full collection of Sheffield All Sport Diver 1 Spikes Car Radio Limited Edition watches are up for auction. All proceeds going to charity. That's right. Each of these watches features the face of a different host. The Spike Watch, the Zuckerman Watch, the Johnny Lieberman Watch, and, most importantly, the illegal Seinfeld watch. This is the only collection of all four watches. These watches will never be made again. You can bid on them now. Again, all proceeds going to Healthcare for Us, which is a 501c nonprofit volunteer organization that advocates for comprehensive, high-quality, universal health care through a single-payer public financing. If that weren't enough, I'm tossing in an ad on the show. 60-second spot worth thousands of dollars on the show. All of it is tax deductible. So go to Bring a Trailer right now and look for the collection of Sheffield All Sport Diver Spikes Car Radio Limited Edition watches. It's got a beautiful little case, leather case, so you can bring it to car shows and show it off. Good luck. And we'll see you when the bidding ends in a week.
Spikes Car Radio starts now.
That's right. If you hear the lyric, I'm doing cocaine overseas, then it's only Riff Raff that could be singing such a song. The new hit, the old hit, I don't even know what it is. Gucci Sweater. Ain't no thing to me. I'm doing cocaine overseas. Ain't no thing to me. Is it really that hard to do cocaine overseas? Is it a thing for other people? I don't know. I'm going to turn you guys up.
Have you been to Portugal?
I haven't. And I haven't met Riff Raff.
Oh, well.
There's so much that we thought was going to happen that didn't happen, that maybe will happen this year, but maybe not. But I don't think we will meet Riff Raff. I think that's over and done with. I think Edwin Castro, the most publicized lottery-winning billionaire, is a big-ass baby and is afraid of coming on the podcast.
Oh, you've made contact?
No. I mean, yeah, we have officially. But he says, I don't want the exposure, but come on, dude. I mean, I know you're new to this whole thing. You're everywhere already. Every time I pick up the Daily Mail, there you are.
When the high of $1 billion wears off, he's going to need to get that fixed back.
No, but I want to keep a low profile, but I'm going to put 20 exotic cars in my driveway that are shot by a helicopter. That's not keeping a low profile. We can help you, Castro. We can help you. If you want to keep a low profile, we'll show you how to do that. But let me tell you something, my friend. You're not doing it right now. How are you?
Come on our show. Only 3 people listen. There's only 3 listeners. That's right. You can say anything you want about your collection.
That's right.
We promise you, there's only 3,000, 100,000. There's a lot.
Show's doing well?
Show does well.
Good.
So you got to be careful. Be careful what you say on any given day.
Uh-oh.
I still think we fly right under the radar, but occasionally, like last week, I mean, we just recorded Jerry. He said a lot of things. I don't know what happened. We're recording the next night.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm sure it was fine.
Okay.
So we're like an iceberg. 90% is under, 10% pops over.
The iceberg is getting higher.
All right, we can't use that analogy anymore?
No, the listenership is going up. It's getting up. You know, as much as people criticize us for not talking about cars, people seem to like it when we go off book.
Look, if you want to increase the audience, stop talking about cars. I mean, general interest show.
Well, we did this because we like to talk about cars.
We do like to talk about cars.
And it's a lot of fun.
And Rufus is eating a bottle cap.
Yeah, she's going to have to stop that.
Later in the show, we'll be talking to Jackie Rosenstein and her friend Bobbie Long, who rode Cake electric bikes, motorcycles across the United States, New York to L.A., a testament to the future of zero-emission motorcycling, spearheaded by women. when I saw this, I called up Eric and I said, get them on the show. Because they're landing right here in Santa Monica down by the pier. I messaged the ladies and they said they're coming on, and I did a great interview with them. And
cool.
You're going to hear it in a sec. But we're big fans of the cake bikes. And
hell yeah.
I'm not sure I would ride one across the United States.
3,000 some odd miles, 2 young girls. That's good for them.
Cake, they're not young. They're in their 20s. They're women. And I think this is Cake's second cross-country continental ride. I don't know how you describe it. They did the tip of Africa to northern Africa. They drove across Africa. And this is their second run. Not these ladies, but then they took Cake bikes, and these ladies did the across the United States run. But think about it. I mean, I ride up Kenter. I hit the trails. I come down. I got to charge that thing. So I'm dying to know how they actually did this.
You know, I drove. Motor Trend did it. We drove a Rivian cross country off road, 2 Rivians actually, and because it was off road, you can only go about 200 miles a day.
Right.
So. If it's on road, you obviously go much more. You have to charge more, but so you'd basically just drive from a charger to a charger because it was about 200-mile range.
Maybe it's like these Navy jets or something where there's some sort of a hose comes and there's charging while you're going.
Oh yeah. No, the other thing though, Spike, is you're riding the dirt bike. They're probably on the OSA. They're probably on the one I have.
No, they're on the Kalk.
Which one? Which is the Kalk?
The cock.
Is that the one I have?
It's Kalk. The Kalk.
Okay, that's a small one. It probably has a big.
No. It's a big motocross.
Oh,
you can just buy a street
but you don't
version
go on the freeway, do you?
No, apparently. Well, these are the questions I will be asking them. We'll talk about it. You're going to hear about it.
Okay, cut this out then, Will.
No, don't cut it out, Will.
Leave it in, Will.
Leave it in, Will. We need all the show we can get.
I'm ambivalent, Will.
Let's talk about the Gunther Werks car, because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So you had, first of all, what is the last Gunther Werks car that was sent to us that we all drove?
I think you had the Speedster, last one we drove. Yeah.
No, I've never driven that.
Oh, okay. I've never had the coupe, the green coupe.
Yeah, I did. That's right.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And I loved it. They kept softening the ride for the street.
Okay.
Right.
So this is the Turbo Mule, called the Ugly Mule. There's 2 mules. There's Pretty Mule, which you've seen on stage at the Quail, and the orange one. Project Tornado, as they called it, Tornado Orange. And this is their development car that like Randy Popes and Pat Long have been testing for them. And it's got like a $13 wrap on it, and it's ratty, and it
looks beautiful.
It is gorgeous. It is such a good car. It's shockingly wonderful to drive. So
How is it different than the original car?
Okay. There's not a lot negative about the original cars, but I don't know if you experienced this. On the freeway, they would tram line like nuts. Like it would just catch every groove.
When you
on
say
the
tram line, I don't know
it would catch every groove on the 405 and the steering. The car
it was stiff and it's set up for racing.
Yeah, this one has different suspension, has electronic dampers, and so there's a comfort mode, which is weirdly comfortable. And there's a sport mode, which is great, but it doesn't tram line. It's on different tires. It's on these Continentals, and they have tread. They're not like racing slicks or anything. I had it up, it was like it was snowing on Angeles Crest yesterday, and it was doing all right. So
you brought it up to the good vibes.
Yeah, brought it up to good vibes.
How was it received?
Oh, people just love it. I mean, first of all, it sounds unreal. This is the crazy thing. So it's a turbo. So the car weighs just under 2,700 pounds.
Wow.
4-liter air-cooled twin turbo, 750 horsepower in the current state of tune, 600 pound-feet of torque. But even more impressive than that is completely linear. It has no turbo lag whatsoever. It feels naturally aspirated. The only way you know it's turbo, aside from the kick in the ass, is the giant whooshing from the blow-off valves when you come off the throttle. It feels NA, but it also just sounds bitch and big.
Give us some specs. What are we looking at here?
Like I said, it's $1 million, 750 horse. I was telling him
$1 million, 750 horsepower.
Yeah, well, okay, it's $950 base price, but they said all 75 are sold, plus everyone fully optioned it. The most they can do is 1.3 in options, or 1.3 with options. I don't know the only spec I know.
What does it weigh?
It's like just under 2,700.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this one still had a steel roof because The production car will get 100 more pounds worth of interior, like different seats. This one just has like racing buckets in it, but it'll get like the Gunther Werks seats, the nice interior, but it'll have a carbon fiber roof. So they'll take 100 pounds of body weight out of it for production, but they'll add 100 pounds worth of leather and doodads and sound deadening and stuff like that. The steering is miraculous. Like the best way I can describe it is like, remember the GT3 RS 4.0?
Yeah.
That with a atomic bomb shoved up its ass. Like it just it goes
Really?
so fucking hard.
Well, that car feels really light.
Dude, this is about 300 pounds lighter than that. And, again, over I forget the power on that. That was like 475 horse or something. This is 750, but when Pat Long ran it at Laguna Seca on the reverse corkscrew.
Yeah. We're going to try not to ash tonight, by the way, with these cigars.
Okay.
We'll see if we can make
He's
it.
waving it around like Castro.
I know, you're about to drop it.
Oh no, it's rolled really well. But so he did the start line to
I
the
told
top
Richard
of
to be careful with the jelly. Yes.
Did you get a haircut, too?
Yeah, I got
It looks good.
And a beard cut. I know. You look actually kind of reasonable and handsome.
I'm down 20 pounds. I'm
Wow.
feeling good. Yeah, I got to buy new jeans. Anyway,
Sounds like this address, because I recall you specifically, Ferriston, not complaining, but commenting how harsh the ride on that other Gunther
Yeah, no, it
Werks
was an absolutely lovely car. I just thought it was very track focused as opposed to road focused.
but you agree that the first time you drove it, it was way worse than what it became.
Yeah, Peter said we're going to, tweak the suspension a little bit and drive it again. And then I was in love with it.
And so this has, I think it's called a JZR suspension. It's electric, fully adjustable in every single way. But this is even better
But here,
than that was.
I'll tell you what, I remember the car was just a star wherever I went. I mean, those were back in the Malibu kitchen cars and coffee days.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a star everywhere, not just there. Wherever you went, it was like, oh my God, what do you have?
Yeah, this is every single adult male in LA is giving me a thumbs up. Like every single one. Doesn't matter what.
But the
they're
ladies?
driving. No, they're immune. Well, the ones that
The Porsche women will like it.
The ones that showed up with good vibes were very into it.
Okay.
It's like a Moby Dick for the street. It's like a 935 race car with more power than they ever had.
Question, I don't know if you can answer this. The development must cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sounds like it costs a lot of money. Do they develop it from the money they get for pre-sales? Do they have an investor? How does this work?
They sold 25 of the coupes and 25 of the speedsters at $1 million.
Yeah, but we've all seen this story. I mean, this is not a profitable business to be a small manufacturer of cars. Generally speaking, it doesn't work.
They're making
Yeah, but
it
if
work.
you're constantly, when you look at Jonathan Ward, all right?
Right.
And I talked to Jonathan Ward about this. He said, if you go out to a place like my place, right, where they're building something like this, and you don't see rows of donor cars and them going in every week, that's what you're talking about. He goes, here, we constantly have cars coming in and we're working and people are paying us every week.
So he's got Jonathan.
It's a good business.
Jonathan has 8 bays. Last time I was there, he might have more now, but he had 8 bays, all full of cars being built. And Gunther Werks, I was there today. They have 5 or 6 bays with cars being built.
And I agree. And then you have the guys that can pull it off, but they are 1 out of 10, 20, 30 that try. You've got a roof. You've got, a Singer. I think Singer's finally got its feet on the ground, and maybe these guys. But you got to have,
you have to have volume.
For every one of these Gunther Werks, you got 100 Yagubians. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, UAB and Puma.
Yes.
Everybody's
still love
trying.
that car.
I'm just saying, these guys are doing it so well. Look, this car, the one I drove, Pat Long at Laguna Seca, he not only won the hill climb this year on Sunday, he set the record, 34.2 seconds from the start line up to the corkscrew, and he beat the car that was second place was a Lotus F1 car, Mario Andretti's old Lotus F1 car.
Impressive.
So, yeah. Now that car, the Ugly Mule was running 950 horsepower because it only had to run for 34 seconds. And they dialed it down. It was 750 when I drove it, but I'm like, with the traction control they have on there, you could make it 850, no problem.
That's the name of the car, the Ugly Mule.
This one's the Ugly Mule. I mean, Peter said we have a pretty mule and an ugly mule.
Well, I see.
So why did you then? I said it. I don't think it looks all that attractive in the picture.
I thought it looked really attractive.
Well, like I said, it's the body panels, they aren't even like bonded on. They're bolted on.
You sent the picture to us, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was in the car with a bunch of teenagers, and I said, hey, guys, look at this.
Yeah.
This is coming our way. And
Yeah.
they lost it.
Yeah.
They went, oh, my God.
Well, I'm relieved to know that I was looking at a mule. I thought this was a finished.
No,
I see.
It's so funny. When he dropped it off, he actually, and again, Singer, who won't even give me a fucking car. Peter, the CEO, drove it to my house.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
When is it coming to my house? He texted me.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said,
You got to text him back.
I did.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Did I forget?
dropped it off this morning. They got it now.
He probably wants to get the Lieberman out of this.
Yeah. They got it. Yeah. But
Oof, the
there's a lot of
decomposition.
Lieberman in there.
The decompensation from his buttocks.
But he's going. Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I've been sick. But he goes.
Good.
Yeah, don't take any pictures of it. I go, what? Because he's got OCD. He's a total perfectionist.
I like that.
And he goes, there's no interior. Like this didn't have a handbrake. Didn't have a radio. Didn't have a bottom to the glove box. Didn't have
Oh, fun.
HVAC.
Okay, so does this car eventually get sold? Because this sounds like the one
Yeah.
that if you could get your hands on
This
it.
is the one in this form. They'll never sell it. Peter would never do it because what they'll probably do is it'll be the 75th car. They're going to fully take it apart anyways to study it, and they'll reassemble it with better body panels and make it pretty and all that.
And what exactly had to die to make this car?
A 993,
Just any nine-
any old 993.
3 people in a car.
yeah.
So what year 993?
This
Not
one's-
98, right?
I mean,
Just any
Anything.
993?
any. So the whole thing. So
Had to die.
I don't know if you remember, you met him at the Quail, but Amjad Ali's the technical director for Gunther Werks. And he's the one who sort of thought this up because he would race 993s and he noticed that the race cars and the street cars had the same steering rack and that there was a position on it that was super wide. Like you could put the pickup points way out to get the front tires way out. And so he's like, hey, every 993 built has the same steering rack as the race cars. So we could widen the front and we could get this great geometry. So it's basically square. You know, it's like the front tires are 295, the rear is 335, but the fronts stick out a little more to make it square. And then you get the best steering I've ever experienced. And also this one, unlike the coupe you drove, has functional aero, like real aero. Like, you know, you floor it and it's really quick. I mean, 750 horse, 600 torque, and under 2,700 pounds. It's a fucking rocket ship. But like all 911s, it goes light until about 50 miles an hour. You just feel the front like just get sucked onto the ground, and then you have steering suddenly, so you can whip around corners, and it's an aero car, so you go faster than you think you can, and you got to work.
That's really
up to it.
interesting.
It's killer. And I hate getting to this point, but it's like sort of one of the best cars I've ever driven. Might be the best car I've ever. I mean, I'm just blown away by it. Like,
That's unbelievable.
But I'm thinking
That's a big statement.
Big
right there.
statement,
Like
and
the
that's
be-
just the ugly mule.
And the best car probably I've ever driven is the 4.0, just in terms of like what a machine.
Yes.
Or like the GT2 RS, right? Well, think about the GT2 RS. It's 3,350 pounds, 690 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. So this thing is 600 pounds lighter, 60 more horsepower, 50 more pound-feet of torque with better steering.
Wow, I'm not Johnny. You got me excited to drive this.
Dude,
Can I take it to tennis?
yeah. Well, I mean, yes, absolutely.
Will I be able to do that?
Yes.
Can I put my sweaty carcass in the seat after tennis?
Yeah.
How is it going to
He's
do
been
on?
in it already.
How is it
What are
going
you
to?
gonna
How
do?
is it going to handle all of the speed bumps to and from my home?
It's got a front end lift.
It does.
Yeah,
Oh,
nose
great.
lift. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the other one had that.
The other
too.
one had that too. It's the annoying nose lift though. When you turn the car off, it drops.
Yes.
So you got
I
to remember
so
every
you gotta
time you get
remember.
it. But they moved the button out of the steering wheel, so it's in your face.
Oh, good.
So it lights up. So when it's not on, you know it's not on.
There's no back seat though.
Oh no. There's a passenger seat. But it's just got like standard. Like if you went to
Does
like,
it have racing belts?
yeah, 5-point harnesses. Sadly.
Nice. That's perfect.
yeah, it's a
Oh
pain in
no,
the
that's
ass.
so much fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than warming that car up and then taking a moment to put on your racing belts. That's a nice moment right there. That little
to
moment
Vicente
right there.
Foos.
Yeah.
No, to leave the tennis court
Yes.
with all the tennis doofuses going, what's that?
Yeah.
Everybody who plays tennis, not a single one of them knows anything about cars.
Right.
But they're just starting to notice, why
you
are you
got
in a
cars.
different car every week? What is happening there? And I get to tell them about every car that I'm driving now, and now it's fun. Now it's fun for me. I can introduce, even the GT4 RS. What is that?
Tell him, stand, I'm going to do these donuts, and you stand in a circle around the car, and eventually I'm going to hit one of you guys.
Do you know who complimented the 4RS today? That very nice new Brentwood resident, Sophia Ritchie. That girl and her record producer husband happened to pass me by as I was pulling out.
Who's that?
Isn't it Lionel Richie's daughter?
I'm kidding you.
He's some sort of record executive, and he said, that's a beautiful color, mate.
Oh.
And I get to tell him about Oslo Blue. Other folks, though, who don't know, don't appreciate the color of that car. And they say, well, why do you get the wing on it? They didn't say that, but other folks will go, I would like that, but no wing, and I'd want to get a reasonable color. Now, that's just someone who doesn't know anything about cars.
That's a dummy.
No. They like the car. They like the model.
You guys still liking the 4RS?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, I haven't driven it since the last
time
want it?
We
talked.
Are you keeping it, I think, is what the listeners want to know.
That car still has only hundreds of miles on it. It does not. It's not like, remember the Touring? I put $2,000 on it before you even got to drive it. But what we do is we have this 3RS coming that we're going to take delivery in March.
Yeah.
And we go down to the Experience Center. You're welcome to come along, and we do a big reveal. We'll do a little show down there, and then Zuckerman will get to drive it home. It's got his seats in it that he's going to love that car. And then we'll have the opposite experience.
But what are you keeping the 4RS?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to, but that's, Porsche's not making it easy with these monthly payments.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They're nasty. Yeah. And I imagine the 3RS is going to be quite a surprise when that comes in.
Yeah,
and then the ST. Woo.
Now the ST. Now remember, we're building to the ST. We got to get through a year of ST lease payments, and I heard that's dumb. Those could be $10,000 a month.
Oh, I think they're like $10,000. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's a lot of goddamn money.
It is
$10,000. Yeah.
I mean, for a lease payment for the car, and then you can buy the car at the end of the year.
Yeah, but it'll probably appreciate when the lease is up or something annoying like that.
Now, the only little wiggle room we might have with that situation is if the 918 guys have the right to buy their car, I think we should be included in that.
You do?
Yes.
On what basis?
That we are essentially 918 guys.
Yeah.
We love that car too.
Okay. I like this logic. You put that together.
Porsche, if you're listening, I'm also a 918 guy.
Yeah, we're all 918 guys.
I'm a career GT guy.
Look, the truth is, I hope we just live to see the day that car comes in. I saw someone posting on Instagram a minute ago. They had put up their, Porsche now has great communication from the factory, and here's where your car is. And this guy's ST was on the boat already. I don't think we have a build date for ours or anything like that yet, but
wow,
it's going to be a big summer.
It's funny. This guy's car's on the boat. He may get his car before we get our RS.
Well, we are driving the ST tomorrow. You and I and Jerry.
What?
Tomorrow when the show airs.
Yes.
We're gonna have it. You're welcome to come too, John.
I gotta go to Vegas tomorrow.
This will be on the 18th, 19th, 20, 21.
Thursday.
Yes. Have you driven the ST yet?
No.
All right,
no,
you're welcome to come. It's a Spike's Car Radio 911 ST show party. You're invited.
I can't make it, but okay.
Why not?
I think I'm filming on the 18th.
I have it for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Right now, Matt Farrer is the only guy who's got it. By the way, come on, Porsche. What are you doing?
Well, I gotta call. I have a story that my Motor Trend is like they haven't put up yet, and I don't want to call Porsche and be like, give me a car until the story goes live. So supposedly Monday. Anyways,
let's do an ad.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I love bread. I love bread, but I also love to work out. I also love tennis. I also love to stay in shape. Guess what? That's where Hero Bread comes in. Hero Bread has 0 to 1 grams of net carbs, 0 sugar, is high in fiber, and contains fewer calories and more protein per serving than the conventional version of the same baked goods. Hero Bread products are delicious, flavorful, offering the fluffy, soft experience that you love when enjoying a refreshing BLT, savory breakfast burrito, or mouth-watering cheeseburger. You know what I do? I use the Zuckerman 3-egg program, and I put one of those Hero burritos down. I toast it a little bit for 2 minutes, throw the eggs on top, a little bit of avocado. There you go. You eat it. You feel good. You don't clog yourself with bad bread. Get the Hero Bread. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your first order to Spike's Car Radio listeners. Go to hero.co hero.co and use code SPIKE911 at checkout. That's SPIKE, SPIKE 911 at hero.co. There you go. Hero Bread, we love you. Back to the show. Zuckerman, you also have a stranger in the driveway.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, and I'm used to your car surprises, but when I saw it, I went, there's no way he bought this car yet, because I would have heard about it by now, and he would have said when I walked in, instead of just saying, here's where the food is, try some hummus, he would have said, did you see what's in the driveway, if he indeed had bought it.
Right.
So am I right about that?
I have not bought it yet.
Uh-huh. What is it? Tell everybody what that is, because it's stunning.
It is a 59 Carrera. It's a 1959 356 Carrera GS, sorry.
A 4-cam.
It's a 4-cam.
So what's a GS?
Well, there were two versions. GS, which was basically the luxe version, and GT with the aluminum panels and Perspex windows, stripped down race car. So this was more civilized, right? You could have the latest.
This is the turbo.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, this is the turbo of the day. And at the time, for those who are listening, who aren't familiar with the 4-cam engine, early Porsche engines were pushrod engines, right? They're easy to build, reliable technology. But Ernst Fuhrmann, who was the genius engine builder back then, had an idea to build these 4-cam engines for racing. They're high rev engines, right? They don't have lifters or rods that can fly apart at high RPM. And this was the engine to go into things like the 550.
Yeah.
Right? The
real 550, the RSKs, all 718s, all that good stuff. Yeah.
And this is such a small company at the time that even I think the first year that they were putting these things in passenger cars was 55. Even if in 1959, the whole year, I believe they could only produce 60 of these engines.
Wow.
That's as many as they could possibly make.
And they're magic. Those 4-cam 356 motors
they're top
are
of the food chain.
Magic.
Top of the food chain for 356.
Well, the brief was to get 100 horsepower out of a liter.
Right.
Which is was still a magic number until recently. So
the Honda S2000 and the Ferrari F430 or something like that.
Right. And so in 1953, when he made the first engine to get 100 horsepower out of a liter back then, that was remarkable witchcraft. And so this car is one of, I think, 2, possibly 3 stone gray 59 Carreras. It may be 1. I don't know if it's one of 1. It's a stone gray car. And it is magical driving.
Matching.
It's matching numbers.
Original panels?
Original, yes. This car is
really?
The real deal.
Numbered panels that are open?
So what's it doing in the driveway?
Well, my good friend.
Or in front of the driveway.
A good friend of mine who is a car dealer. I say good friend the way I would say, my drug dealer is my good friend.
Right, yeah,
my good friend, the Coke dealer, who calls me on my birthday and says he's got a free package, right? He called me up and he said he has this car and he would like me to try it, which in the car dealer parlance is called sending the puppy dog home. Hey, you folks, take the puppy home. If you don't like it by tomorrow morning, you give it back.
Right,
but no one ever gives the puppy.
And you were suggesting that perhaps we sell the Zagato and move into this.
Yes.
And or we work with Johnny's new investment company.
Yes.
And have them buy into it.
Yes.
Hey.
Because this
Drift
car.
capital.
This car must be gotten, it sounds like.
To me, it's and I haven't really got a chance to stretch its legs. I've just driven it around town.
You know who would be, I know you like to surprise Jerry, but to let him have a drive and a look at it, he's really the 4-cam expert as far as drivers.
We should let him do that because he's driven more than anybody.
Right.
I've had a couple of these things. 4-cams are kind of cold-blooded engines. They like to get nice and warm. They like to warm, so I haven't really had a chance to warm up this car. Hopefully tomorrow I can do a little on the freeway, but in driving around, this thing really goes.
When I did the Mille Miglia, I was in a Mercedes Gullwing, which is a supercar of its day, and it was the fastest car on the Mille. But one of the few things that could keep up with it was the 4-cam 356s, and they sounded. I was always behind one. It just sounded so fucking cool.
Yes.
And they were, we're driving 110, 120 miles an hour through, you know, back roads of Tuscany or whatever, and Porsche was just boogieing, and I fell in love with them just watching them. You know, it's just
special cars.
Yeah,
especially you know, in 1960 when they were just switching over to the 356B, they had a plan to make a certain amount of Carreras,
right?
And they didn't have enough engines. They could not make enough. And for whatever reason, in 1960, the production of 4-cam engines went down to 40, and that's why they have those Super 90 GTs. And the Super 90 GT these were cars that with the aluminum panels, Perspex windows, everything. They just couldn't come up with the engine.
Right.
So they put the pushrod engines in, which had its advantages because they are lighter and they are torquier at the lower end. So those are also fabulous, but those are the little asterisks of this 4-cam production they had back then.
Yeah. I mean, and remember, too, 1960, Porsche had been in business for 12 years. They had no money. I mean,
right.
You know, right? It was a new little obscure company.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in 59, they sold, I think the total production was just under 7,500 cars.
Yeah, which is nothing.
Nothing. So there are 33 of these GSs, and then maybe I think 14 or something of the GTs, which are holy grail cars.
So you think this is going to happen?
We have no choice.
I'm thinking about all the things we talk about that happen and don't happen. We were supposed to go for a ride in a self-driving car with what happened there?
I told you that. It was the weirdest thing.
They panicked. They listened to the show.
No. It wasn't even that. It was
Hitler's penis that talked. We thought you guys were serious car journalists.
Schindler guy you guys are always talking about.
What's that? Why are you always talking about poop? Yeah. We don't want you in our self-driving car. We have enough.
We have enough poop to deal with.
There are people having sex in them and shooting up in them instead of going to motel rooms. And now you guys?
Yeah, no. What happened was...
What company was that? Wahoo? Waymo.
And it was going great. The lady was totally into it, and she's like, and I'll go in the car with you. And I'm like,
oh boy,
no. I go, that's you don't want to, ma'am. You seem like a nice person. Like, it'll literally be Hitler and feces for 4 minutes, and Zuckerman will be trying to steer the car into like pedestrian. It'll be a nightmare, you know.
It won't be good.
Yeah,
it won't be good. And speaking of that, by the way, Ian Ziering, who's been on the show. Who I love Ian Ziering.
Yeah.
He and I went to the Super Bowl together with our kids, and when we were doing Car Matchmaker, and we had a wonderful, he's a great guy. But you see, he bumped into some of these mini motorcycle gangs on Hollywood Boulevard. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, he was throwing down.
And they were around his car, and he got out, and he slugs one guy. You know, I understand his frustration. He got upset with him, or maybe they hit his car or hit his mirror. He gets out, he punches one. Understandably, the guys on the bikes turn around and they start attacking him. All of them.
Yeah.
Like
He
8
got
on
pummeled?
1.
Oh, yeah.
And then he runs. All of this is right on Hollywood Boulevard, like near Mann's Chinese Theater, which is loaded with tourists. And you're watching the video going, is this a movie? Is this like a publicity stunt of some kind? But no, it wasn't. He just kind of lost his temper in traffic and then had a fight with these mini motorcycle guys.
He's reputed to be the nicest guy.
He's a wonderful guy. But who hasn't lost their temper in traffic?
Never me.
But, you know, the kids on the motorcycles and mini bikes are getting the blame for beating up on him. But you look at the video and you go, but he got out of the car with his kids in it. And
So he went running down the street with his kids left in the car?
No, they were kind of caught in traffic, and it stopped, and they were all around his car, not paying him any attention. He gets out of the vehicle and runs up to the guy in front of him on a mini bike and punches him in the head. He's wearing a helmet. The rest of the guys stop, put their kickstands down, and then they start attacking him. He realizes it's 8 or 9 on 1 and runs across the street to try to stop it. Some of the motorcycle guys take their helmets and smash his windshield and smash
With the kids in the car.
With the kids in the car. His kids are
That's
upset.
not good.
Well, they won't forget that.
Like, again, I mean, I think it's that moment of anger where you lose control of your anger and you make a dumb decision, but it certainly didn't appear to be the kids on the bike's fault.
Has he said why he got out of the car?
He's blaming it on them, but I think most reasonable people are going, well, why did you get out of the car and strike somebody? Because that's the first real blow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something happened before, but both angles that I watched, one from behind and one from the side, he's in his car. They're doing nothing. He gets out and he punches a guy. I think because he might have been frustrated he couldn't move and they were blocking the way, but that's just something that happens in the city now.
Look, don't drive on Hollywood Boulevard.
That is, yes, exactly.
I'll give some free advice.
Yeah.
But imagine, I mean, you're a tourist, right? You're coming in from Iowa.
Yeah.
And the guy from Beverly Hills 90210 gets out of a car and has a giant fight with
highlighted their lives.
A mini bike motorcycle.
And then the next day you go to Disneyland and you see someone crap on the line and someone naked on the Small World.
Wow, we actually made
the best vacation.
We made it 30 minutes without talking about feces.
I went to when I was a kid. We went to a Rams game, and my friend's dad was driving and very drunk, and trying to exit the parking lot after the game, and my friend's dad gets out of the car, and the dude gets out of the truck and just decks him, lays him out cold in front of us. We're like 11, and the only adult is like laid out unconscious in front of us in the parking lot at Rams Stadium.
Wow.
Sounds fun.
It was awful. It was just shocking, and the guy just got back in his truck and left. It's just like,
good times.
Yeah, man.
But if we go back to Waymo, if you recall at this time that we were being offered the Waymo, it's when they were first having their self-driving cars in San Francisco, and that they had to pull that. So maybe they've pulled back generally on the idea of...
Or what Spike said, like they might have like looked up like Zuckerman and seen the litigious nature of our co-host.
I don't think so, no. It's usually the show that does us in.
I don't know.
Our sponsors seem to like us, the ones we keep.
Oh, no, we're doing our thing. We're going to continue to do our thing, and people can come along for the ride or not. It's all right.
Yeah, it was.
I don't need to do a Waymo show. I just thought it would be fun, and I was interested in it. But I just care less.
It just broke down when she's like, "I want to go in the car too," and I'm like, "No."
I wish
that happens a lot.
Locked the doors and gone crazy down Sunset Boulevard.
That happens a lot. Now, people will always want to come on the show, and we don't want to have them on the show. No. I mean, most guest pitches I get, I just say, we don't want guests.
Right.
I'm not interested. If I'm interested, I'll have them on, like these girls, these ladies who did this thing on this bike that I like, and I love cake, and I want to know how they did it. That's interesting to me. Having some guy come on and talk about his book about the business of cars.
Also, like, we don't need if it's a self-driving, we don't need a PR person to tell us the car is driving by itself. Like, we just need to.
Yeah, isn't that the whole idea?
We're going to be out by ourselves,
right?
Yeah.
How about some self-driving PR?
But could you
let us just experience it?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole idea?
Yeah.
Come on, Waymo.
Yeah, do you think we're going to have sex in the car with each other?
We might.
I mean, so?
Why did you bring it up? You're not thinking about it.
No look hand jobs. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Let's do another ad. Well, when I had to go to Matt Farah's watch release party last weekend and meet everybody and hang out and drive in the GT4 RS, you know what I wore? I didn't even have to think about it. I put on my Roan pants. I got there. Johnny Lieberman had his Roan pants on. Do you know why? Because Roan makes pants that are comfortable in your sport seats. They look good, so when you get to the party, you look good. You look like you're dressed up, but you're just comfortable and you look good. What's better than that? You don't have to think about it. I have Roan slacks from their commuter wear in all colors in my closet, and their shirts. You guys have to check this stuff out. It is the most comfortable stuff. It photographs so well. When some dummy takes your picture and puts you on Instagram with their family, you'll be the nicely dressed guy and the most comfortable guy. You got to check out their commuter collection. That's the one I wear. Most comfortable, breathable fabrics, flexible set of products known to mankind, perfect for every occasion. Mobility is everything in Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric. Stretch fabric. That means when you're sitting, bending legs, hitting the clutch, shifting gears, in the church pew, waiting for the stupid wedding to be over. Your pants are breathable, your shirts are breathable, your blazer's breathable, flexible. It's exactly what you've been looking for. I'm telling you, you can go to a party, you can 18 holes of golf in this stuff. Don't take my word for it. Give it a shot, try it out. I promise you, if you're a guy who's driving to work, if you're on a train like I used to do from Brooklyn for an hour into the city to go intern for shows, these are the clothes I would have worn. This is why I'm so glad Roan stepped in and did this. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to Roan.com/Spike911 and use promo code Spike911 to save 20% off, 20 off your entire order. when you head to rhone.com/spike911 and use code spike911. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Back to the show. Did you see that Chrysler, Stelantis, is not going to advertise in the Super Bowl? They are now the second car company that has decided they don't want to be part of the heavily watched National Football League championship game because it's cutting its marketing costs because sales in the U.S. aren't doing so well or they're down.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you do when sales are down. Let's cut marketing.
Yeah. Advertise less during the most watched television event of the year.
That's what I was thinking. Isn't that the point of the ad? You need it more than anybody.
Yes. They also pulled out of all auto shows in North America. They're
That I understand.
Okay.
Well, hang on, though. I mean, that's kind of weird. Like if you, like the Chicago show, for instance, I forget the number, but it's the most heavily foot trafficked show in the country.
This is like getting ready to go into hospice.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It's not a good sign.
Well, it ebbs and flows, right? I mean, if they just made better stuff, like
Yes, that would sell.
yeah,
They're gearing up. They're gearing up to do all that. They have a bunch of new. They're kind of like a year and a half behind everybody else.
do you think they're being held back by the word Stelantis?
No.
Which sounds like a Godzilla villain.
No, because the ads would be
Or
for
some medication.
Take your Stelantis for a 4-hour erection.
You may suffer cysts inside your testicles.
Peyronie's disease may occur if you take Stelantis too many days in a row. A curling of the penis might happen with Stelantis. Stop using Stelantis if you bleed from the rectum.
I just got a text. They've stopped advertising on Spike's Car Radio.
They're not welcome. No, they could
it
come.
would be Jeep ads and Dodge ads, Alfa Romeo ads, that kind of thing. So they're backing out of that.
Yeah.
So,
But it is the most watched and probably only watched television event these days.
Yeah.
I mean, why not be a part of it?
People do remember these ads. Bob Dylan unintelligibly talking about Lincoln.
Sure.
Was that what that was? Matthew McConaughey also?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were fun.
No, it's just. I mean,
Did it make you buy a Lincoln?
No, but it was still. But I remember the ad.
But if you're
Bob
in
Dylan,
the
Lincoln.
if you make commercials, you want to be in the Super Bowl because people the next day talk about your commercial on every talk show.
Think we're going to get any Bitcoin kind of commercials? Any cryptocurrency
that's
commercials?
over.
No.
Oh, that's totally over.
What about gambling commercials?
Yes.
For now, yeah, but until they get sued by people like you, Zuckerman.
I want to sue them. I don't think they would.
Well, they're marketing gambling to kids now.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
I know a bunch of private school kids that are all gambling on apps.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I love the new thing they're doing where if you lose your bet, they just give you another bet.
Oh, so you can double down like the con man?
Yeah,
I know I conned you, but if you give me another $25, I'll make it up.
What
to
app
you.
is that? Let
It's
me get
wild.
that app.
Yeah. Download the app.
I can only imagine what my dad would have done with all this. He had a gambling problem. Imagine Fats with apps that he could gamble on.
Fat app. I only have a Fats app.
Why don't we start that to
Fats
honor
app.
his gambling
Yes.
addiction? Except you can gamble.
And then the app has what? It has like
Fats app.
a virtual Dunkin' Donuts to hang
No,
out
here's
in.
the first thing we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to wire up all the dog racing tracks to that.
Yeah. OTB, baby.
OTB for
And,
dogs. They still have dog
OTB.
racing.
Let's assume they do.
Hell yeah, they have dog.
And then Highlight will be the next one.
Oh.
And and on holidays,
Did your dad bet
your
on High
your
Lie?
kids can bet on the app. You let your
Did
kids bet
your-
like we did.
Did your
Yes.
dad bet on High Lie?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that.
He bet on everything.
That was the most rigged.
Well, but I also hear that's the number. Like, if you're a real gambling junkie, like High Lie it's like, I don't understand it, but like the action is awesome.
Well, you have to remember, this is back in the day. You had a bookie, right?
Yeah.
You had your bookie, which my dad would talk to. I met my dad's bookie.
What was his name?
I don't remember. I'm like, who are you talking? I'm talking to my bookie. Hold on. He goes, I'm making my picks. It just to me seemed like a normal part of life.
Slim, just normal to meet your dad's bookie.
Yeah, I thought that was just normal. I thought it was normal to go to the dog track. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it.
That's
Every once in a
great.
while, I got lottery tickets too. I got to scratch the tickets.
Nice.
I didn't know. It seemed exciting.
Fats
My
and
dad's
slim.
bookie.
But past the football and the bookie, even the bookie wouldn't take bets on everything. not everything you could gamble on. So, you got dogs, you can do that. They would go to Myron Bloom's butcher shop and play cards for poker for money and gamble there. Yeah. They'd work until noon and then hang out and eat meats at the butcher shop and gamble.
What a life.
Yes. And then so suddenly, Highlight,
Yeah.
Rhode Island, I think.
Wow.
You can gamble on guys with weird, scoopy, long fingernail things that throw balls.
Yeah.
All they heard was you can gamble.
I was reading
Off-strike betting hadn't been invented yet, Zuckerman.
No, but I was reading about like Pete Rose it was a huge better on Highlight.
Yes.
Like, it was
because it was a big deal when Highlight became legal. It was very anti-gambling. The world was anti-gambling back then. So Highlight was like the first thing that they legalized gambling on.
Right. And now it's just everywhere.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's just widely accepted.
Yeah.
And you get that little shot of, what is it? Endorphin? Dopamine. You get your dopamine hit.
Whether you
get
win
it
or
from
lose.
drugs, you can get it from gambling, you can get it from lots of things.
But
eating,
the NFL,
and then people
wild.
just want it more. It's just you're just processing dopamine.
No, the NFL's wild because they keep figuring out things that surround football that make more money than football. Like something like the NFL. I forget the exact number, but like it's a $10 billion industry, but fantasy football is $11 billion.
This is just
and gambling's got to be.
Well, that's just like colleges and universities.
Oh, yeah.
The football's so much bigger than the learning.
Oh yeah. So
Isn't that just shifted too, right?
Yes.
Now they're sending that money to the athletes.
Yes.
Wow.
They're not indentured servants anymore.
Wow.
It's a crazy world. Just gamble on everything. Will
Well,
Rufus eat this
we're-
wrapper?
Yeah, Rufus is going to eat my cellophane
Yes,
from my
I think
Fair.
we're pre the big gambling come to Jesus moment. We're in the middle of it. No one's really seen it yet,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be the
I gotta start
epidemic.
working on the lawsuit. This is the latest Juul. This is like that Juul,
yeah.
those cigarettes, those e-cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because the kids are going to be junkies.
Yes.
Nice. Get him. Oh, she's eating the cellophane.
Yep.
Oh boy.
That's got nicotine. This is going to be awesome.
Oh no.
Well, let's talk about Sheffield watches then. Our good friends at Sheffield,
Yes.
who are we're deep in process on the Spikes Car Radio Sheffield edition. Should have the prototypes very soon, and we should be offering them to you, the listeners.
No faces, right?
No, these aren't those.
God.
In fact, we're recording the show very early. I don't know yet whether the four faces of Spike's Car Radio watches are up for auction yet on Bring a Trailer. It should be any minute, but here we are, I think, a few weeks ahead of this show.
I just feel so bad because I have the watch with my face on it, and it's cool, but I'm never going to wear it.
No, I know.
one's ever
Hold on
gonna
to
wear
it. Hold on to it.
I will, but like
I've got the Jerry and the Spike.
the Jerry's going to be worth something. The
It's
Zuckerman
going to
and
be
the Jerry.
worth something, sure.
Listen to
It's gonna
the-
be it's going to be worth something.
You know how
Hundreds of dollars.
Do you know how when you know your kids grow really quickly and your kids' closets fill up with clothes, and then the wife or the husband has to go in there and go, can we just go through your closet to get rid of the stuff that doesn't fit? And then my wife takes it to Goodwill. She came out with a pile. She comes up to my office. She goes, look at this. Look at these beautiful shirts that this kid won't wear. Like, he's 13, so he's
Right.
of course we're not picking things anymore that he likes. And I go, what's that one on the bottom? It was the shirt with my face on it. I go, that's my shirt. I gave that to him. He goes, he's not going to wear it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to walk around with his dad's face on a shirt. Yeah, the ultimate kick in the nuts. Anyways,
My kid still has his Zuckerman shirts.
Sheffield watches. You want to check them out. We love the story. Our friend Jay, Porsche guy, bought the Sheffield name. He he decided he wanted to sell a watch just the same way when he got a Sheffield. They had gone out of business in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. Bought the brand, rebooted it, and dedicated it to good design, good visual design, and a price point that is equal to what they were selling for in the 60s and 70s. So that was $13 back then. Now you can get this incredible new watch that he has with the Seiko movement in it.
The D1.
Yeah,
Dude,
the D1.
Dude,
It's incredible.
have you seen people have been putting pictures on Instagram?
Yeah.
like, in a watch roll with next to like a Tudor and a Rolex, and it works.
I wear that watch all the time.
I wore it for 2 weeks
It's
straight.
weirdly super wearable
Yeah.
for a watch at that price
at
point.
$178 or whatever.
He nailed it.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like that, because it looks like $3,000 or $4,000 watch. Anyways, go to SheffieldWatches.com and check them out.
One day, I hope this is going to be a public company, and we're going to get in on the IPO, the Sheffield
I think we're
IPO.
already in.
Yes.
The action.
All right, before we chat with our friends, Jackie and Bobbie, Let's do some This Week in Zuckerman news. These are real stories.
You like how he uses me as his cutout? This is really Spike's news. I want the listeners to know. This is really Spike's news.
I want the listeners to know.
But he says, this is Zuckerman news. So, he has cover.
You're his enabler. Like, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He just has a bad
I'm his beard. I'm his beard
He's
for
got a
this
bad-
stuff.
I don't want to do any of these stories, but now I've got people sending them to me. And then occasionally I see one of them myself that I like.
Yeah.
Here's the first one, Zuckerman. Because there's some I think you're going to know. This one I don't think you will. A French star chef has abruptly quit his luxury hotel job after hazing his kitchen hand, who was reportedly tied up naked and humiliated, the hotel chain said on Thursday. Aurélien Largeau, 31, who has a coveted Michelin Star to his name and ran the restaurant of the prestigious Hôtel du Palais in Biarritz, southwestern France, until last week when he suddenly left. A spokeswoman for the hotel told the AFP that the management had been informed of a troubling incident, footage of which has been shared online.
Wow.
A kitchen hand was tied to a chair naked for hours with an apple in his mouth and a carrot in his anus.
Like a pig?
Wow.
With all the chefs known as the Kitchen Brigade looking on, including Largeau.
Well, apparently, one thing we know about this.
This is a Michelin restaurant.
You realize this must have happened to Mr. Largeau himself at some point, and he's just passing it on.
So he's emotionally...
This is illegal in France suddenly?
Yes. But to think this shit up, you're mad at... What's wrong with just firing the guy? I don't like the way you chop the onions. Get the fuck out of here.
No, they like this guy. This was a hazing. They're making him part of the club. They put a carrot in his ass. Listen.
Which side?
Tied to a chair for hours. Not a couple of minutes. Hours with a carrot in his ass and an apple in his mouth.
Like, hang on.
Look at him.
We've all worked in restaurants.
Yes,
right? Like,
I have.
Could you imagine, like, listen, like, it won't last long, but just take off all your clothes, sit in this chair. Before you sit, let me just put this in.
I have been hogtied before by the baseball team. I was hazed.
Okay.
Right?
That sounds awful.
I've never been hazed. Yeah.
I talked about it on the show. You don't have a choice. They grab you, they tie you up. I don't know how they got the guy's clothes off.
Why
he was not cooperating
with the special chef's knives.
Or enough wine.
Yeah. And I like how they say the chef has left. No, he was fucking fired. He didn't leave.
All right, Kitchen Brigade, bring me the biggest carrot you can find. Why? Do it!
Le pomme.
I am Largeau.
Le pomme de terre.
The pamplemousse.
Oh, je déteste les pommes de terre.
Yeah. I'm still not eating there.
Well, that's fantastic.
That's a good story.
That's a wonderful
Do you
story.
lose to the Michelin Star? What happens to the
You
star?
get an extra star for that.
Yeah, you get a special star.
Would you like one of our carrots? What?
Yeah,
What is
anyone
special
ever
about it?
ordering carrots at that joint again?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, how do you order a carrot there ever?
Never. Yeah, you ban carrots. No carrots. Zut alors.
If I were the guy, I would organize some sort of protest with the picture of me tied to a chair out in front of the restaurant. Don't eat here. Look what they did to me.
I don't know if I was
Doesn't he
the
just
guy.
stand silently with the carrot in his ass?
That guy's got a lawsuit, though, doesn't he, Zuckerman?
It's France. They'll give him a couple of francs, and that's it.
Here's a blancmange. Now get out.
Yeah.
You think he gets fired?
Of course, everyone gets fired. That's the way it works.
Wow.
All right.
That's a great story.
There's a customer who's filed a negligence lawsuit against Dunkin' Donuts, claiming he was injured by an exploding toilet at the coffee chain locations in, of course, Central Florida.
Nice.
The man is seeking more than $100,000 in a lawsuit filed Wednesday in a state court in Orlando, claiming he suffered severe and long-term injuries, quote, following the explosion of a toilet in the men's room at Winter Park, Florida's Dunkin' Donuts.
So
It
Zuckerman.
couldn't be that severe and long term if we're only talking $100,000.
Well, maybe in Florida that's a lot of money.
It could be.
So are you familiar with toilet accidents?
Wait. Here he goes. There's more, actually.
Sorry.
So Paul Kerouac is the guy.
Mr. Kerouac.
Not Jack Kerouac. This is his grandson.
Paul.
Said he's sitting on the toilet in the Florida outlet, and it suddenly just exploded, coating him head to toe in poop. This happened on January 6th, 2022.
I see causality here.
Covered with debris, including human feces and urine, including
Including but not limited to.
Following the explosion, the plaintiff, Mr. Kerouac, left the men's room and sought assistance from employees.
Help me.
Of the
I have a carrot in my ass.
said, "Can you help me clean myself?" As he remained covered with human feces and urine after emerging from the men's room. Making matters worse, Kerouac claims that the workers at the Orange County coffee shop conceded they were aware there were problems with that toilet.
Oh, sure. It exploded every other day.
It's a haunted toilet.
You know.
I guess there are.
So what do you normally get if a toilet explodes on you?
I haven't had an exploding toilet. I've had the toilet fall off of the stand or off of the wall, injuring the person riding it. But we've had.
Yeah, what makes a toilet explode?
Doesn't make any sense.
Do you think he maybe did this to himself?
Probably.
That's your opinion? He's a little litigious. I don't want to.
But also, could you imagine, let's say it really did explode and you're covered in feces, asking for help? I would run.
I'm going to back it up one step further. I've rarely been in a Dunkin' Donuts and I've never taken a crap in one. I'm not.
Allegedly.
Let's start there.
Yeah, that's right.
Who's crapping at the donut place? Who's crapping at any restaurant?
If you got to go, you got to go.
No. Who's tearing? Sometimes I don't understand that these fancy places, people are crapping in there. Why do you got to do that?
I wouldn't say
crap at home.
Fancy.
Well, it might have been an emergency. It sounds like it was.
His emergency. Help me.
Well, you got to imagine. Okay, look, it's morning, right?
Yeah.
You get up, you're late for work, you go grab your coffee. You didn't have time to use the bathroom. So you go, I'll just go
Take
there.
a sip of hot Dunkin' Donuts coffee and all of a sudden, ooh, I don't have a choice.
The curler's coming out.
Yeah.
But what do you suppose the toilet didn't explode, but probably the water from the toilet blew up, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And how do you get covered?
It's an exaggeration, but if there's pictures out there, please send them to Spike at Spike's Car Radio. He likes looking at that stuff. Help me clean up, and then they grabbed a bunch of bear claws and wiped them down.
Imagine a bunch of kids making $7 an hour. Help me, I'm covered in feces. Like they're gonna just run.
Hey! Don't chew on the podcasting equipment, please. This dog, Otis. What's the dog's name? Rufus. Rufus, over here. Rufus. Yeah, there you go. Look at what he's left over there. He ate another plant. Where are those leaves from? Look over the side there.
Plant, I saw them.
Oh my God! I hope they're not poisonous.
That's a wonderful story. I like that
Our
one.
last story is George Owens, 42, of Sterrett. I don't know where Sterrett is, but God bless you all. Is charged with public lewdness, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest after jumping into an Alabama Bass Pro Shop aquarium naked. 2 counts of first-degree criminal mischief and 2 counts of reckless endangerment. That just sounds like fun. Yeah. There's a lot of Bass Pro crime going on. By the way, an amazing store. Like, you go into Bass Pro and I got to fish. I got to get canoes, boats and guns and knives. One of the greatest stores ever.
Cooler, yes, everything.
No, that's the wild part. Like, outside of California,
they're
there's
huge.
just guns. No, I went to the one in Green Bay. There's an arsenal. There's more guns than I've ever seen in my life inside the Bass Pro Shop. It was awesome.
Well,
we have Outdoor World here, but apparently they have, because I think just last week there was a kid that grabbed a live tarpon. There was a tarpon swimming in a tank, and he fished for the tarpon and took it out, and he got arrested.
Excellent.
I endorse criminal mischief. That sounds like the fun part.
Lewd. I mean,
lewd. I don't want to see nude. I don't want to see that. But criminal mischief is kind of fun.
What is he doing?
But I mean, if you jump in with your clothes on, it's a lot more fun if you're naked. Let's be real.
I guess.
Right?
Is it?
If you're gonna do it, do it.
But he's not even a social media weasel trying to get likes. He just lost his mind.
It was like the guy at Disneyland.
Yeah, well, we know
Small world. old.
What is the reckless endangerment charge? Why is that reckless
I think
endangerment?
that's a throw-in just to add one more charge on him.
Well, maybe like an employee had to dive in and fish him out or something.
The cops had to touch his naked body, so they threw
reckless.
Yeah, they threw that on there.
And this guy, so they join our green room. He can sit next to the kid at the It's a Small World naked guy.
Yes.
That went swimming there.
You two need to see Radamak. He's going to straighten you out.
Radamak seems completely rational.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Connected to some of these guys, compared, I mean.
What if
it's ridiculous.
Ian Ziering had attacked Radamak?
Ian Ziering is another one.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come back on the show and tell us what happened.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's eager to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. He's burning desire.
Look, I relate to anger in traffic. I get angry occasionally, and you do dumb things.
There's a lot of motorcyclists.
Let's have his kids on. You can tell him, my old man had a bookie. Your old man punched somebody out on Hollywood Boulevard. We can relate to each other.
It's exactly a move like that will revive his career, and you watch.
Yeah.
He's going to get a big part now.
Yeah.
Another Sharknado.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
He's a very good actor.
Tarantino's going to call him up. Listen, Pulp Fiction 2.
Is he even making movies anymore? I thought he was retiring in a minute.
Yeah.
You want to go see him? He's at El Compadre on Sunset Boulevard all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I know he's
Okay.
living. Yeah.
We'll take our Waymo over there. It'll be fine.
Waymo to El Compadre. But then you have to eat that food.
It ain't that bad.
Anyway, not long ago, Jackie Rosenstein and Bobbie Long decided they were going to make a ground-breaking, unassisted ride across the United States, 2 women on electric motorcycles, as a testament to the future of zero-emission motorcycling, spearheaded by women. And I was lucky enough to sit down with them just as they completed it, and here they are to tell you all about it. Jackie and Bobbie!
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Nice to meet both of you. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sleepy. Lots to travel.
You're
right
here
now.
in the Zuckerman hangar. What do you think of the Zuckerman hangar here?
Don't want to leave.
You don't want to leave.
No, I want to drive every one of your cars.
You like cars as
Yes.
well as electric bikes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're here to talk about this ride. As you know, I'm a big cake enthusiast, and I know Eric in Sweden, and I drive the Kalk. Is that how we pronounce it? The Kalk?
The Calc, yeah.
Yeah. And you just completed, both of you, this cross-country tour of North America on electric motorcycles, right? This is the second such trip. There was one, I think, that went south to north in Africa.
That's correct, yeah, by Signé, my colleague.
Wow. And then, so how did the idea for this one come up?
It was an idea for a while. When I started Cake, I heard about Signé and her trip, and I was just like in awe. And I love riding motorcycles, and Bobbie and I ride together our gas bikes.
What do you mean you ride together? So you both have gas-powered motorcycles?
We both have Harleys, yes.
You do?
Yeah.
You're Harley people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harley and Triumph.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a Triumph guy. I have a 66 Triumph Bonneville.
Oh,
That's what
amazing.
I ride.
Yeah,
That's my only bike.
I started on the T100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what kind of rides do you do together on those bikes?
Really just cruising. Either if it's like down PCH or
Yeah, to the bike shed,
So
just
you're
around town.
so you're based out here. Do you ever go down to Bike Shed Moto downtown?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cool place, right?
Yeah, we love it there.
Yeah.
Are you down there looking for Brad Pitt? Is that where you're up to?
Oh, the only reason.
I go down there looking for his motorcycles on display, but
We're actually
wow.
going there after here.
oh, you are?
Yeah.
Just for lunch?
Just for lunch,
Yeah.
hang out, and use their Wi-Fi.
And Dutch and Vicky are like amazing.
They're the
people.
best. They've been on the show. They're the absolute best. Well, let's get onto these electric motorcycles because as I've said before, I drive the Kalk, as we call it. What's with all the weird names at Cake?
It's funny
Cake.
working for Cake because you hear people pronounce it in so many different ways. I mean, really, people call it like the cock, and I'm like, I'll just go with it.
All right, I wasn't going to say it, but that's what happens on our podcast all the time. But they are kind of hard to pronounce. But
They
these
are.
bikes are premium, beautiful bikes. They're unique in this ecosystem of I think there's a lot of overpopulation right now in electric bikes, but they're these beautiful white stallions that you ride and never fail to get attention, but also really go. But when I ride mine, so I live in Brentwood, and I can take it up into Kenter Canyon and ride off-road. But when I come down, my battery's kind of, I'm down a couple dots.
Yeah.
And I think about you.
Sure are.
So you're ripping it.
Yeah, so you're crossing the country. How does that work? You start, I'm presumably in New York City?
Yes. We started in Soho, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started in Soho.
Okay, and you're charged up.
So it's funny. It didn't take until like a month in for us to really understand the battery because every day was different.
Every single day.
Every day. And so
I'm assuming you're on a Calc street bike?
a street legal, yes. We were on the Calc Work Edition.
Okay.
So it's built for off-roading, but also street legal.
Right. So like an adventure bike, but
'Cause
electric.
originally, we were supposed to do a lot of off-roading, but we changed our route very quickly, like on day 2.
Yeah, I mean, we were supposed to be doing like 100% off-roading. So we have like a dirt bike like setup, and it was just the opposite of what we
just
needed
ran
on the
into
road.
like weather.
But so how far out of New York do you get, out of New York City, before you have to charge the thing? Or did you have hot swap? Did you have a van behind you? How does it work?
We did not have a support vehicle. It was just us two figuring it out as we went. We stopped in New Jersey, and that's as far as we got that day. It was probably like maybe like 20 something miles, but because we were just so we were trying to figure out the battery and how fast we can go, and we were trying to follow with traffic, which is what, like 50 miles per hour, which we soon realized we can't go that fast if we want to
Right.
get
So
as much as we
you're
could.
off highways then and on.
I mean, we were like on shoulders of highways at some
Wow.
point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, at the beginning of the trip, we were going like with traffic on the highway, and eventually, in the end, we started going into the shoulder, which like led to flat tires and some close calls. But
But what happens in that scenario? So the first you drive
Trauma.
right to New Jersey. Where do you sleep? You get a motel room? Did Cake buy you motel rooms or?
They did not.
No.
So what are you doing?
We had sponsors, but I mean, that money kind of went very quickly.
But where were you? Was it
So
in like an app or in your
We
sock?
stayed at hotels. We tried to camp, but being that we went at a very cold time of the year, we didn't want to camp as much.
Right.
And then Bobbie found out about Bunka Biker.
yeah, so
you can explain.
Bunka Biker is essentially like a Facebook group of people. And I thought that it was more regulated than it was, but at the end of the trip, we found out it was like, oh yeah, you just like apply and you get accepted, no background check or anything.
What happens?
So it's essentially just like a Facebook group with a Google Maps, and it has a plethora of different colors, and it tells you like, hey, we have an extra bedroom, we have a campsite in our front yard that you can use, and we just stayed with complete strangers from off the internet.
Hey, I'm a serial killer looking
I
for
mean-
two
I
girls
mean-
on an electric bike,
Literally, I mean,
and that worked out. So what
Yeah.
what did it feel like though the first time you're going up to somebody's house? Did you stay in somebody's house?
it was
Terrifying.
terrifying.
and you knock on the door,
I
and
was
who
convinced this is where it ended.
who answers the door?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we had, this is a whole thing, but we had some difficulties at first because the battery, we would say we were going to make it to the place and we couldn't. We got stuck
Right.
in this like rainstorm. Both our phones died. So we actually got banned from it before we even got to use it.
Because you didn't show up.
Because we didn't show up.
My phone died. Hers died from the rain. We got stuck in a rainstorm, so we couldn't contact this host.
We stayed
Right.
in we knocked on this like house, and it ended up being a bar, and they let us sleep above the bar.
What state is this?
This is in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Oh my
So
God.
we eventually reached back out to the guy who banned us. And then we ended up being able to go to this guy's house, like somewhere by the coal mines of Pennsylvania. It was terrifying.
I
He
thought
also,
that's where our trip was going to
he
end.
did not really speak. I mean, he was a nice fellow in the end, but it was really terrifying. It was like a
What
junkyard.
do you mean he didn't speak? He opens the door, or
He was just
you just said, "Hey,
he was just
hey,
like
girls."
socially like very
Awkward.
awkward.
Yes.
And
Very. Yeah.
Like all good serial
But
killers
his house
are.
was like a junkyard, and we found an outlet. and He let us charge.
I mean, the thing was, is
Were your
like,
parents like freaking out?
oh,
They
we
go-
just didn't really tell him.
You
much.
didn't-
yeah,
you didn't tell.
They still don't know.
How many? Okay, we're missing some bigger picture stuff here. How many days did this take?
So it took us 62 days to get to LA, but we really took like 3 weeks off of just not riding.
Yeah, it was due to like weather, or we stayed in Palm Springs for a week because
I see.
but
And when you would stay, you would plug in and you'd plug them up. And then how many miles would you get would you ever charge 2 or 3 times a day?
Yes. Yeah.
And ride till like 1 in the morning just
Wow.
to get where we need to, or we'd
Wow.
be stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Lots of rain, like heavy rain, sleet, snow, like every type of weather, like
And you're
everything.
you're photographing this, I'm sure, and putting it all over social media. If we wanted to look back and check out where you stopped, where are we looking? TikTok or Instagram or
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
So
all-
it's on like at Bobbie M Long.
Right.
And then Jackie's. Like,
Is Rose_J.
Okay, and what surprised you about this ride? What did you learn from
What
it about on
is
these
that-
bikes?
I believe that, I think I can speak for both of us, that we really wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for the people we met across, United States. Just kind people wanting to help us complete this trip. And like Bobbie and I are not used to really asking for help.
Right.
So it
Well,
was
it's hard
really
for anybody to
beautiful
ask
and
for help.
eye-opening.
Yeah.
yeah. And so, what was cool is, we couldn't like Google like how to do this trip. Like the converters weren't working for the charging like on car chargers, and it got to a point where that wasn't accessible. So we would go on Yelp and we would look up like a bunch of restaurants and like rest stops and all this stuff, and we'd zoom into the photos and
We were,
see
like,
if they had
stalking.
outlets. And that's like genuinely how we did it. And then
Right.
when we'd walk in, and it's kind of awkward because we had these 37 giant pound batteries, and we're like,
Yeah.
pulling them up like with our converters, which are also large, and like we just had to be like, hey, we're trying to complete this mission, like do you want to help us? Like we'll be the first female duo to do this. And like they just wanted to help, and it was cool.
What about,
Yeah.
thinking about that, like I have in my garage, I have a bunch of electric bikes, some of them Cakes and Sondors and Surons, and I have the chargers about as big as this recording unit and heavy. Like, and then I'm assuming you're going to bring a change of clothes. Like, how much stuff were you carrying on these bikes?
That's so funny because when we were in New York preparing the day of, we unpacked and packed our bikes like 3 different times because we were like, it's too top heavy.
Yeah.
So literally what we were wearing was about what we had to wear.
Right.
Everything else was like camping gear, extra spare parts in case anything happened. So, and maybe like 5 pairs of underwear.
Yeah.
Like,
The underwear and socks.
We had like pretty much like 2 pairs of pants and like 2 shirts, and we were sponsored by this like woman-owned company called At Wild. So like bless them. And then we just had our rain gear, and so that rain gear, even if it wasn't raining, we were wearing it because it was just
So
keep us-
windy.
What did we see on the road? Did we crash at all?
What did
Oh.
we not see on the road? Is
So,
honestly-
Yeah,
luckily-
tell us what you saw. A cross-country trip is, not many people have done them, but they're really transformative sometimes. I remember driving back from Nebraska, Colorado to Boston, and it changed my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's- it's
Nebraska,
changed
the
my life.
emptiness of Nebraska changed the total direction of my life. What did
Absolutely.
you see out there, though?
A lot of roadkill.
A lot of, like what? Like just squirrels?
I
or-
feel like every state was different.
Like
which is-
what?
At first we'd be grossed out, and then now we'd play this game because we had Sennas in our helmet, so we were talking the entire time, and we'd like make bets on like what animal it was. It's kind of messed up, but
Yeah.
So what state has what kind of animals?
So like when we were in like more of like the east side, we like it would be really late, and I would be checking for cars behind us because we weren't going that fast eventually,
Right.
because we realized if you go slower, you're gonna have the duration of the battery will last longer. So and she would be looking forward most of the time, and one time there was like multiple times lots of deer, and like a giant buck was dead in the middle of the road, and like
Oh my God.
one buck is gonna like take us out completely, and we saw wild donkeys, wild horses, and
Dead ones?
no, not dead.
No, I'm talking about roadkill. I want to know
roadkill?
states and roadkill.
Okay.
Like, so deer in the east.
Pennsylvania, yeah,
Deer.
lots of like opossums everywhere. I honestly, like, my heart goes out to those little dudes. Their life expectancy is like 3 years. Lots of raccoons.
I feel like towards Texas. I believe that we saw like hogs, like which yeah, Texas
Yeah.
was quite a trip.
Did
Yeah.
you ever get to a point where there was just like a stretch at 300 miles with nothing, and you thought, how am I
No.
charging here?
So it's crazy because after like the first week, like Bobbie and I had this like we'd wake up, we'd plan our day. We couldn't plan anything over 24 hours because it never went our way.
Yeah.
So we learned that the hard way. But people would say, oh, you can't go this way, you can't go this way. And we'd be like, listen, dude, we've done this for like 1,000 miles. Like, we know.
I mean, people thought that there's nothing for over 100 miles. And the thing is like, there is something.
And
you just got to go on maps and Yelp and like zoom into like something that's just not advertised, Yeah. And so
a lot of people aren't on Google.
The craziest part about this journey is like, yeah, sure, there may not be anything. Okay, so sometimes there is something 20 miles into our trip, but then if we didn't stop there, there wouldn't be anything for like another, like over 100. So we may not have had a completely dead battery. So we'd just go there, top off, and then go another 100 miles.
Right.
So it was just really strategic like that. And the craziest part is I'm so glad we had each other, because it would be very dangerous if we miscalculated. So we just never did. Like, there was no option of let's miscalculate. I mean, one day we got lucky because it got so cold we ended up actually getting like iced into like a Airbnb situation, but there was a buffalo farm. We were going to run out of battery, and there was a buffalo farm, and there was a sign, and then we saw an outlet, and we were like, oh my God.
And it was closed. So
it was closed, so we just like kind of broke into this buffalo farm.
we left $5.
And then we left $5, and we actually charged there, and then
you just pulled up, but
that was
you
the
didn't break
coldest
any
day.
locks, did you?
No. That
absolutely
was just
not.
the coldest day I've never experienced anything like that. Like,
Were you able to warm up at the buffalo farm?
No,
with the
we
buffalo?
were
No.
both sitting on the ground on our phone watching Netflix because there was nothing
That's
else
tough.
to do.
What did you watch on Netflix?
Oh, some like cheesy
the most
Christmas movie.
positive, cheesy show that we could possibly pick up, because it
Wasn't the Squid
mentally
Game
tough.
reality show?
Yeah, no, it was just it was mentally tough, like having to do this, because it's day after day. Our bodies are hurting. Like, it got really cold to the point where like it was a mind game, and you had to differentiate, like, am I getting hypothermia, or like, am I just cold in my mind?
Was that the most challenging part with the weather? Were there any
Yes,
legitimately frightening moments? Did you ever?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every day we were very close to death.
Yeah.
Semis are. I'm actually traumatized to get on the highway now, even in a car.
Because of the way they pass at
The
speed
way they pass,
and the drafting, right?
The wind that
Yeah.
comes off of them. Like, there's been cars that are looking at their phones, and they literally swerve at the last minute.
Right,
Like,
right.
it's just.
And
Yeah.
flat tires, like, I never got a flat tire on a motorcycle before. Like, I've been riding
That's right.
gas.
Yeah.
And I daily rode for like 5 years, almost 6 years. I've only been hit by a car one time, but like, I've never had a flat tire, and getting a flat tire on this trip was just
That's
insane.
rough.
Like, and just having to.
So how did you deal with
we
it? Did
did
they
it.
have? I don't even know if the cake has inner tubes. Does it?
It does,
It does.
yeah.
So you got to pull that front wheel off.
Oh, yeah.
We learned a
And then-
lot of lessons.
So how did you do it? You get a flat. You're in the middle of nowhere.
We
What do you?
changed it
We changed
ourselves.
it,
Like,
yeah.
okay,
But how did you put the air in the tire?
Oh, so we had a portable.
Little
like
pump.
a
little air
pump.
pump. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So we would charge that every day because we were constantly going over our bikes almost every day, just
Right,
making
right.
sure that one, we have air. There's
our-
no loose bolts.
The chain, like, we had to pull it back. Like, I mean, it was vibrating so much. One time I looked, all my fork bolts had fallen out. I was like, holy shit.
So what did you do?
We went to the hardware store.
Oh,
and
really?
got
Wow, you guys are really unbelievable.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
really,
What
really
was
cool.
Really cool was just like going on this trip and realizing how well we both work under pressure in different ways. Like, say when I had the flat tire, I'd just be like, okay, hey Jackie, I think I might crash. I'm really fishtailing back here. And she's like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, really. And then in other circumstances, like planning it and whatnot, like, she would ground me. So it was just very cool to see like how a human can be like optimized so well during like a stressful moments. Like, I don't think most people would have made it across, to be honest, because it is so.
No, it sounds rough. I certainly couldn't do it.
If I was with anyone else, we would probably like have strangled each other.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, there's just some roads. I mean, one of the most crazy parts is just one, dealing with people. It was either incredibly like beautiful listening to these stories, or there's just some people who are sketchy.
like we would talk to like maybe like close to like 50 people almost every day because the bikes are head turners.
Yeah.
We would be stuck in one place for like 3 hours charging. So people would ask us the same question, so we were repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
Over
What
and
was
over
the
again.
What was the one question?
What are these?
Oh yeah.
Our license plate said Utah. So they would ask, like, you're coming from Utah. I'm like, actually, we're riding across the country. And
Wow.
they're like, oh, you're insane. And we're like, yeah.
we would go about we'd go about 100 miles on average a day. Sometimes, like one time we did 180, and that was like max because our bodies, but also like we were getting around 50. By then, we were getting around 50 to 100 miles before we would recharge, because we had 2 batteries each. One was on the back. We built like a little rack for it, and then we had one obviously in our bike. So we'd have to swap it out.
You'd swap it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
So hopefully we would find a place that we could charge all 4 batteries at the same time.
All right, one more question, then I have to let you go. But what was the thing? You know when you're on a long trip or you're sleeping in an airport and you're just thinking about, oh, when I get home, I am going to what? What was that thing? I mean, this is a rough, what did you say, 60 days on electric
It
bikes?
was 62 days.
62 days. What was the thing you went, when I get back to Venice or Santa Monica or Malibu, wherever you guys live?
Jackie, you tell yours and I'll tell mine.
Mine was a long shower.
You were smelly.
Well, I just love showers.
Yes.
And, like,
We all do.
I just wanted to sit in the shower and maybe cry a little bit, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, I think mine was definitely a shower because there were times where we were staying at places, whether it was on Bunker or it was like hotels where there was nothing around us, where we would actually set up our tent on top of the bed. Like, that's
How gnarly it was.
Yeah, we were privileged here in Los Angeles. Like,
You set up the tent on top of the bed so you didn't contaminate the bed, you're saying?
so that we didn't have to touch the bed.
No,
Because the
you
bed
were
was
worried
so
about the
gross.
bed. You weren't worried about you touching their beds.
No.
Oh my
opposite.
God.
Like, it
Bunka
was-
biker.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really good
Insane.
experiences on Bunka Biker, and then there were some like, oh man.
And then Bunka biker, it's all free, right? This is just
Yeah,
a
free.
community of like-minded folks.
Like, one time we got to this Bunka Biker around 1 a.m. and there was no way we could leave. So we were
Right.
actually like, we can't go anywhere. So we're stuck in this RV that hasn't been used in like centuries.
And there's like cigarette butts.
You can sleep there,
There's, like,
man.
There's like cigarette butts in the sink. The toilet's taped
Right.
down. Like, it was so gnarly. And then in the morning, we didn't meet him that night. In the morning, this man comes up so nice, and he's
Stoned.
like, he's so high, and he's like, you want some coffee? And he pours a cup of coffee, pours some milk in there, and then like pours my cup accidentally back into the coffee carafe, and like, and then he's
no.
like, oh man, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, dude, I looked at the milk and it was expired. I'd already drank it. I'm like, oh. It was just such a wild.
All of it
cool
is pretty
experience.
wild. Did you look for cameras in the? I would have been looking for cameras everywhere.
Yes, so you're not gonna believe
Oh.
this.
So we had to go to the bathroom, like, very
Right.
bad. And there's not, the toilet's taped down. So it's very black outside. We're just
What does
like,
that mean?
screw
The
it.
toilet's taped down.
Like, they don't have plumbing in this RV.
So they're saying don't use this
Don't
thing.
use it.
Right.
They didn't tell us this before.
So
you know?
we go outside, and it's like to the point where it's like, we have to pee. So
Yeah.
we both pop a squat in this man's yard. We wake up the next morning, and there's camera signs everywhere, like, you're being watched.
Oh, no.
So he just,
Oh.
yeah,
us pee.
like you know, this was like a really cool experience because we got to see America and we got to see like everybody.
And America got to see you,
Yeah.
apparently.
we
So-
got to like see
Barely.
how everybody lives and like
Yes.
and that was a very
That's
beautiful
not how
experience.
everybody lives. You got to see how the Bunka biker people live.
we just
sounds
got
like.
very lucky.
Jackie and Bobbie are passionate motorcycle enthusiasts and close friends, if you couldn't tell, and they are the first women to cross North America on electric bicycles. Thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to meet you both, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
excited about it. I was very excited to have you on, and thanks for coming by, and we'll have you back.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Our next sponsor, of course, is Sheffield Watches. We spoke about them at the top of the show. The Bring a Trailer auction is live with 4 of the Spikes Car Radio Special Edition watches. The only collection, the only full set. No one has a full set. It could be you. But in case you're not the winning bidder, you want to go to SheffieldWatches.com/Spike911 to check out the entire Sheffield All Sport range. They're making great watches. This emerging brand is really an amazing company, They are selling watches for a very affordable price. Right now, the watches they have up there are sub $200, and they look sub $3,000. This Sheffield dive watch, which Jay, who runs the company, revived, he had one when he was a kid. It sparked his love of watches, along with his already strong interest in cool cars. He now drives Porsches, and he appreciates watches and cars that share the visual and technical appeal common to both. He bought Sheffield. He now has made a commitment to you that he will make high-quality, beautiful watches and sell them at a very affordable price. So you, if you have children, or maybe just for yourself, you don't have a lot of dough, you live a humble lifestyle, can have a beautiful thing on your wrist that's not going to break the bank. Go to SheffieldWatches.com/bike911 or just SheffieldWatches.com and check out the all-sport model range. There it is. Pretty interesting stuff, right, Zuckerman? That was there in your Cottoner hangar, which they loved. The beautiful cars. They said, "Who's this Zuckerman?"
Yes.
I have a rug. Just give him the rug.
Oh yeah, and the Zuckerman rug.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Hey, what are you going to do with that? Speaking of, there's a rug that someone made of your head, of the famous Zuckerman face sticker.
Yes, this photo that you've taken that you knew somehow.
That you asked me that in that moment, delete that. That's horrible. And I said, no, I've captured you.
You
and then Dear Zuckerman, I sent it to Dear Zuckerman, and the rest is history. Now it's a carpet that I can wipe my shoes on.
I have asked him. This guy by the name of Mingus, and I now met him.
Not the jazz guy.
But his parents, who were not jazz listeners, named him after the jazz guy.
Nice.
Charles Mingus. And so Mingus learned how to make carpets during COVID, watching YouTube stuff. And Brian and Ivy at my office saw him making carpets. They said, "Can you make this?"
I see.
And he said, "I can make this. I'm going to do this." And then he's been so surprised that so many people have reached out to him over this carpet.
What's the price point?
I think that he'd sell you one of these carpets for $400.
Huh.
Isn't he making a bunch of them?
He's making me 5 because I'm going to give them to select people. I said, if you want, you can even include a cutout so it can be pushed around the pedestal of a toilet, so you can see my.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I'll take 2 of those.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd get one for Richard's room and just give him some jelly.
Exactly.
And sit on the Zuckerman's head. And
it's
eat
exactly
jelly.
right, because I have 2 of those in the boys' room, teenage boys. So you can imagine the condition of that carpet.
Bleached.
But red Zuckerman faces.
I don't know if I could stand your kids pissing on my face.
Well, that'd
be a little hard to take.
That's not
the show, ladies and gentlemen.
But it would just be a funny moment to see them walking in and going, "What's this?"
Oh, I got to get one for Richard. I got to get one for Richard.
Okay, so when I'm going to talk to Mingus, I'm going to encourage.
That's a great.
him.
You're going to sell a lot of these.
I'm going to encourage him to make these into toilet mats.
But I think it's perfect as is. You could be like a bath mat. You know what I mean?
No, that's too nice.
Yeah,
he's got a great idea.
Still good for me.
He should just come up with 3 or 4 options. He will sell quite a lot of them. He will. This audience is just dying to buy stuff.
Okay, quite a lot being relative. When I told him to make me 5, he says, "This is my biggest order ever." So
I am telling you, Zuckerman, you will sell 150 plus of these. I'm telling you, that's my experience.
Mingus wanted to know what the deal would be, and I said, "I'm happy for you to profit on it."
Don't give away your money. What are you doing?
Come on, he's a nice kid. You got to meet this kid.
You take a little money. It's your face.
Got to take a cut.
Listen, come on. You took the picture. Dear Zuckerman came up with the whatever.
Yeah.
Lieberman's in on this by the time we
I'm
split
making
up.
dozens of dollars, dozens of dollars a month. It's my retirement plan.
I told him cut in Dear Zuckerman.
Wow. Could he do the 4 faces, the illegal?
No, let's start small. We got to start small. We always get ahead of ourselves.
That's true.
Let's just get these Zuckerman face toilet mats.
How about a toilet seat? Remember in the 70s?
I never know where the show is going to end.
Yeah.
Last week we were cloning Vic Elford with a dog in South Korea, and now we've got Zuckerman toilet mats.
I can count on one hand the number of times Spike has said, "I have a good idea." And this Zuckerman toilet mat is one of the 4
That
times.
wasn't my idea. You mean you have an idea?
Yeah, that I have an idea
that
that you
instantly resonated with me. That instantly resonated. I'd buy it in a second. Yeah, because it's exactly right. Because the Zuckerman face carpet you don't want to display it in too important of you want to be surprised by it. So you open a toilet in a bathroom and there's your face. That's really funny.
But imagine a listener gets it and their friends come over and they're like, what the fuck is that?
Who is that?
How do you explain it?
Zuckerman.
Oh, it's this really great lawyer I listened to.
It'll work. It'll work.
Listen.
It'll work for 200 people. That would be my prediction. Wow. Which is a lot of
That's a lot of money.
200 times 400. Yeah.
And it's just the first one. Yeah, this is great. Oh, we've got a new business now. Watch out, Sheffield.
Toilet mats.
Toilet mats. Wow. Spike's Car Radio toilet mats are coming for you. Anyway, that's our show. See if you correctly predicted the trajectory of this episode. How many of you? Go ahead. Look on the piece of paper. What did you write down? Yeah. Did you write down Zuckerman face toilet mats? You didn't. So the lottery turns over. We'll see if someone wins next week.
Yeah, more Nazi content next week.
All right. My thanks to my guests Jackie and Bobbie, and of course Zuckerman and Jonny and
Rufus.
We'll see you next week. Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday and be sure to subscribe. Now, I'm gonna take a nap.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.